So if we're ready, let's get started. We're going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good news report.
For our good news report, I would like to invite up Phoenicia Homan, our Vice President for Academic Affairs.
Good afternoon, President Kelly, members of the board. Phoenicia Homan, Vice President of Academic Affairs. I'm really excited to acknowledge two of our colleagues today, so I'd like to invite Ben Ringling and Dr. Sarah Vandekamp to join me up here. So they were recently honored by the South Dakota Association for Career and Technical Education, so SDACTE, at the end of July at the conference. So Ben is our horticulture instructor, and he received the Friend of CT Award. He was nominated by the Harrisburg School District for the work that he's done with horticulture education and especially the youth apprenticeship. If I got that correct down there. So doing lots of great work down there and creating a really great model that hopefully we'll be able to continue to expand with additional programs in the region. And then Sarah Vandekamp is our director of the Eastern South Dakota Perkins Consortium. And she, with that consortium, they're up to 35 schools, and then primarily rural schools on the eastern side of the state. She's currently traveling to all of them. And so you'll see her on the road right now. And she was recognized as the Post-Secondary Professional of the Year for her really great work with building partnerships and strategic thinking and connecting those districts and helping them leverage resources and build connections with industry partners as well as post-secondary partners. So really grateful for the both of them and their connections, and wanted to highlight the recognition they received and bring that to your attention. So thank you.
Congratulations. We're going to applause. In addition to you being recognized for your work, I also want to recognize, and we probably don't know who the grant writer or who the award writer was, but that takes a lot of work to put that together, and they often go unrecognized. But the important part is the work that they recognize that you do, and that the panel recognizes that you do every day to serve the mission of Southeast Technical College. Excellent. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do we have can I get an approval of the minutes of the meeting held on August 6th, 2025?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Do we have any persons wishing to address the school board on non-agenda items? Nobody? How about on agenda items? Anybody here? Okay, do not. Can I get approval of the agenda for today's meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Conflicts of interest? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 9, the approval of the consent agenda, 9A through D. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Corey, we have the reports of the president.
All right, thank you very much. We have 3 reports for you today, and we will start with an update on our student success programming, and I'd like to invite up Dr. Suzanne Heising to give that update.
Good afternoon, President Kelly and the board. Hi, Pres Corey, how are you? I want to start by saying that I have the best job on campus, and this is the 4th time I've been in front of your board, but a lot of great highlights for us as we get into the new year. So with regards to the Academic Resource Center, as you know, that this is an initiative that has grown over the last 3 years. Last year, we improved student usage to about 6,800 touch points, which means students are feeling very comfortable coming and asking for support. We also have increased differentiated tutoring by adding more specific intentional workshops, tutor-led study tables, Teams online study tables, and study buddy resources. And so we're seeing that as students work peer-to-peer and with a peer tutor, they are feeling more comfortable as well. With regards to strengthening the quality of academic supports, this is something that 3 years ago we had 0 student resources that students could download. Last year, 80,000 downloads of self-paced materials. And so that's like a record number, but also getting the supports in real time to the students as they need it. Also strengthening the quality of academic supports in collaboration with tutors and faculty and work-study students. And this has been an excellent collaboration because of the information that we are sharing amongst each other. And then strengthening the quality of tutors. We've retained all ARC tutors this year, and if you remember from last year, our #1 tutoring resource is from the retired teachers here from Sioux Falls. And so these retired teachers make great tutors, and all tutors are required to have the 20 hours of professional development and that CRLA certified training. This is one of my favorite slides here. This is how differentiated tutoring really looks with the new initiatives. And I do want to point out the old dog, new tricks. This is a great initiative where we have non-traditional students coming and saying, I don't remember how to do fractions. Like that was like 1968 was the last time I did it. And so we are really reminding them that they knew it and we're building confidence. And that works with technology as well as math and some of those foundational skills that our instructors already expect these students to have and remember. As we move into student success, we're talking about our all-in holistic vision. And so instead of being in different silos, we are working together as a very intentional team. So we're providing that holistic care across campus. Pres Corey's has united us with the All-In Navigate. It is a platform that we're using for student success. And now we have more faculty buy-in. We have our tutors also informing the platform as well. And so by having all of this relevant information from all of the different departments, faculty, co-curricular, we're seeing a very holistic picture of the students so that we can give them the support they need. We're also continuing to develop and improve the support materials, whether it's physical or whether that's online. And so we did begin an all-in Navigate 360 training, and that is working with the co-curricular departments as well as faculty. And we had a really intentional day in August where faculty either remembered what they knew about Navigate or learned some new strategies. And since we have begun, which I understand it's only the first 3 weeks of school, but we have been able to improve the support already for students because we're seeing early alerts. We're seeing really good communication, and we're seeing where students already have gaps that are informing tutoring, that are informing instructors, and that are informing our study tables. As we move ahead, this holistic vision also includes resources to community and community connections. We all understand that the loss of funding for our students is palpable. And in that understanding, we have reached out to community resources through our first community resource meet and greet. And so we got together with 18 different resources. We just kind of reached out. I go to the nonprofit exchange every other month. And have been making connections to make sure that our students have external resources that are not just coming from us or the foundation, but also coming from our community. We've seen an increase in holistic needs, basic needs. And so by having all of the support people on campus, whether that's a student success advisor, a tutor, whether that's a program advisor or the AWO, we're making sure that every person that is student facing is meeting the needs or has the resources to meet the needs to the students. And I do have to say out loud that we have seen an enormous increase in students in financial crisis. And we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to give you some good news. Last year, I think I talked about the campus cupboard, and because of the need of students in financial stress and also meeting their basic needs, we've been able to create a partnership with Feeding South Dakota, Central Church, and our own foundation, so that we are now stocking the campus cupboard and we will never run out of food. And so we just appreciate how we will have the monthly deliveries come to the campus cupboard. We also understand that the delivery support that we need, because we're all very busy people, how do we get the pantry and the food there? And also, just some of the initial donations and the startup that we needed. We had Central Church come alongside us, and then the foundation has donated $5,000 this year for annual giving. It's looking like we will probably run out of funding, just so that you know. Just the initial, we've already blown through the initial stocking within the first 2 weeks of school. But again, that just shows us how much need there is. I wanted to just let you see a picture of the team. So this team of holistic support are our student success advisors. And what I'd like you to know about them is that from the moment that they get to meet the student at our AARs, our registration days, they are already building connections. They have over 340 cases, and they work in collaboration with the student because they are also teaching our student success seminars. And so yesterday, I saw a student leaving and give Alex a big bro hug. And as he was leaving, he was like, dude, I actually came here to drop out. But just so that you know, because I really feel like you care, I think we can do this. And that's the kind of support, that student-facing support, we're really looking for. Also, each of the team members you see here has an intentional care unit. So not only are they meeting with students, but they're also creating initiatives in real time to make sure that the students understand that we're not just getting them ready for to meet their academic goals, but also their professional goals, and their next is what we like to talk about. So to finish up, I want to tell you about our Jump Start Week. This is a before the school starts week. And so that team served 388 students, 388 walk-ins during that week. We had 28% of our referrals that were appointments were from faculty using Navigate. We didn't even have that percentage a year ago. So we already are seeing some faculty buy-in. We also had 31 class presentations during that week, because we understood that for our students to be successful, we needed to make sure that we had a presentation that talked about all of the support needs that we already knew that they were going to have because of the discussions that we were having with faculty and other support staff. And then we also had 23% referrals going into week number 1 and 2. That is what we call a pre-alert. So we were alerting faculty to say, we already know that this student is in financial crisis. We already know that this student is going through some other things besides just coming into the class, and we wanted you to know that. So to finish up, I wanted to talk about the grit of our students. One student, and many students, are peer tutors. Tutors that are working jobs, that are doing clinicals, but also know the importance of giving back to the other students because they needed another student to come alongside them. And then I wanted to let you know about our work study students. Again, students that understand that being on campus instead of off campus allows them to not only study, but also to make the funding that they need so that they can persist. And then finally, I wanted to let you know about 2 alumni. One alumni every single month drops off 5 to 8 bags of groceries to the campus cupboard because she used the campus cupboard a year ago. And then the other alumni that I wanted to talk about is a student that is a hardworking guy who is an industry partner who refuses to take 1 dime of tutoring money, but continues to show up at the study table week after week after week. And so when we talk about holistic care, we absolutely are talking about student success. So any questions or concerns as I finish up?
Suzanne, your very first slide, you talked about the ARC having 6,800 touch points. Can you put that into a little bit of frame of reference on what that was when you first started just a couple of years ago, just to show the increase?
Sure. It was 243 students came into the ARC for the entire year, but we weren't tracking it. So since I've been there, we started tracking it. And so these touch points that I'm giving you are touch points that are one-on-ones or are in the ARC for support, for clarification, for more than 10 minutes. Anybody under 10 minutes, I don't add that to a touch point count. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gail?
I realize you've just given us this presentation of all the fabulous work that all of you are doing, but I would like you to think, what is one thing you can put your finger on that has created this increase and has created all of this? One thing that you've done.
I think it's a spirit of humility between everyone that is understanding that we are no longer trying to get our students ready for our program, but that we are coming alongside students so that we know that we are ready for all of the diversity that is coming in. Because the amount of variables in student support, I mean, I've been doing this for 36 years. There are more variables, more need, and to see a community come alongside and understand that, I think it's humbling for us all. None of us have the answers, but together we're stronger, and that's the kind of success that we're seeing.
Pats on the back for all of you and your staff for the terrific work. And if I can, a second, I'm going to go another direction. Do you track the use of your student cupboard?
Yeah. So because of Feeding South Dakota, they've asked us to put a scanner. We do not track the name of the student, but we have to track the count. So last year, the way that we tracked it was we counted the number of plastic bags of food, and then we knew how many bags we could give out. This year, because of our collaboration, we do have to keep a count and then send that into Feeding South Dakota.
Do they track in pounds?
Yes.
Pounds of food?
Yep.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Good question. Any other? Well, it is clear that Student Success Services and the ARC are just excellent examples of how Southeast Tech puts students at the center of our mission. You're not only providing the space, but also building that community with your alumni, the tutors, the the work, where is that? The work study. It's clear that you're just giving students the tools that they need to go out with readiness to work and just their overall success. So
Yeah, thank you.
thank you for that
Thank you.
energetic, uplifting report. Corey, you have the new
And-
advanced manufacturing building.
Yeah, and would you like to vote to acknowledge or have a vote to acknowledge that report as well?
Yes, I
Before we
always
move on.
forget when we're acknowledging that we're voting to acknowledge. It just, thank you.
Sure.
Can I get a motion to acknowledge the report of Student Success Services and the ARC update? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All right, next up is Stephen Williamson. So you've been hearing us talk about for a while the plan to expand and add on to Ed Wood as our trades programs continue to expand, and we have increasing demand. And so that has led to, hopefully you remember seeing the renderings for what a new advanced manufacturing building would look like that would attach to Ed Wood. And so Stephen Williamson is here to ask for your approval for a name for that building as we prepare to build it.
Thank you. My name is Steve Williamson, President Kelly, board. Glad to be here and very honored to make this proposal for you today. We are bringing to you a vision, an idea to name the new Center for Manufacturing after the late Senator James Avner. For some of us who are a little longer in the tooth, we remember we grew up with Senator Avner, but for those of you who maybe weren't around when Senator Avner was here, I'll tell you a little bit about him. But Before that, the new Center for Advanced Manufacturing, I won't get into too much depth on that. I'll let those who know a lot more about these type of things talk about it. But just in general, we know that manufacturing, which is a growing industry in South Dakota, is the 4th largest industry in regards to GDP. It has an average starting wage in 2022 of over $59,000. 1 out of 10 jobs in South Dakota would be considered manufacturing. And let's see here. The output for the state GDP is about 7.9%. So this is not only a current need, but it is a future need, workforce need in the state of South Dakota, especially as we look at how manufacturing is becoming much more advanced than it is in the type of manufacturing that we grew up with. So a little bit about James Abner. I'll just read a little something that we put together on him, and I would like this and want this in for the record. James Abner was one of the most liked public servants in South Dakota history. Born in Kennebec to Lebanese parents who immigrated to South Dakota, Abner served in the Army during World War II and graduated from the University of Nebraska in 1945. After graduation, he served as a teacher, started a life of commitment to youth and education. James Abner was dedicated to public service and the people of South Dakota. Anybody who had the privilege of meeting him liked him. Known for his approachability and love for the state, he served as Lieutenant Governor of Frank Farrar starting in 1969. Later, he served in the United States House of Representatives for 8 years, the United States Senate for 6 years, and was appointed by President Reagan as administrator of the United States Small Business Administration in 1987. James Abner was a mentor of John Thune, who as senator helped secure the initial funding for this building. Southeast Technical College is grateful to Senator Thune and his staff for their support. SDC is also equally grateful to have the opportunity to be home to the first structure in South Dakota to be named, hopefully, after Senator James Abner. Quick story. So I knew Senator Abner, and my parents volunteered for Senator Abner, but it kind of talks a little bit about politics of old. George McGovern, who we have a middle school named after, had a son or a relative, a grandchild, who one day decided to take George McGovern to a baseball game to go see the Canaries. Now, Senator Abner had beaten George McGovern in the election. But George McGovern said to his grandson, why don't we give Jim Abner a call and see if he wants to go to the baseball game with us? Now, Senator Abner was at Dow Rummel at the time. So they gave him a call and they picked him up. And these two guys who had served in World War II together went to a baseball game together, and they sat there and they talked about things of the past. So I think it's very appropriate with the George McGovern Middle School that we also have James Abner Center for Manufacturing and kind of close to each other. So I'm asking for your approval to have the honor to name our new Center for Advanced Manufacturing after James Abner and officially call it the James Abner Center for Advanced Manufacturing.
Thank you. We're going to make the motion and then open it up for comments. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the building naming rights after Abner?
I would move to approve that the new Center for Advanced Manufacturing at Southeast Tech be named in honor of Senator James Abner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, let's open it up for discussion. I'm sorry, I'm getting so excited. And it's such
Sorry.
a
Yeah, that's right.
real moment in history, I think that we can all sense. So it's clear that Abner dedicated his life to service, education, and opportunity. And opportunity is the big piece here. because his legacy of creating opportunity in this building being named after him will go beyond the walls of the school. So while the naming of the school is entirely fitting, the point that we don't want to miss is that his legacy will go beyond that building, and that's the opportunities that will be created in that building by serving the mission of Southeast Technical College. And it's really fitting that we see this as such a historic moment, which is what it is. And certainly I want to recognize his relationship to John Thune and Senator Thune, also helping to create the energy to continue to move this new building forward. Great leadership. Anybody else?
I was excited to make this motion. I will tell you that, sometimes when I talk, you all just figure out what a nerd I really am. So I'll just continue with my nerdiness here, though. When I was in 6th grade, I was a Governor Frank Farrar groupie. And so because I was a Frank Farrar groupie, I got to be a Jim Abner groupie as well. So, and I also was kind of a McGovern groupie too. So, it just comes full circle for me, and I think this is a great honor, and it's awesome that we're doing this. So thank you for bringing this to us.
A great moment for all of us. Okay, are we ready to, oh, Mark has some.
Oh,
No?
I'm saying no, Mark. No, I'm just teasing. No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All righty, and I have the last item, which is presenting to you the proposed new strategic plan. So as you may remember, our current plan, Vision 2025, was a 3-year plan that ended with the conclusion of this past school year, so we were ready for a new one. So we have been working over the course of the last 9 months or so to develop this. We really started back in January with some environmental scans, as well as envisioning sessions. We had thought leader sessions where we invited people from the community, the school board, our foundation board, our college tech council are invited to participate in sessions, which then led to our strategy mapping sessions in May, which I know several of you were at as well. That has led us to this day to present where we are at with the new strategic plan. And so part of that, that envisioning session that was in January, was looking again at the vision, mission, and then our values statements to see if they still applied for who we are or not. And so we are suggesting and recommending some slight changes to some of them. So the vision, there was a consensus that is solid as it is, and no recommendation is being made to change it. So the current vision statement is educational excellence for tomorrow's workforce, which I think very well sums up what our vision is as a college. We are recommending somewhat of a slight change to the mission just to make it a little more clear. Preparing students for thriving careers through innovative, industry-driven pathways and strong community partnerships to inspire lifelong success. And then where we had a little more substantive changes were really on what our core values are as a college. These weren't necessarily as clear as what they could be, or that the definitions that went with them didn't necessarily align as well with what the kind of the core value itself was. And so really working to make those a little clearer. And so I won't read all of those to you. I'll just highlight what those core values are that came out of those sessions, which are that we are people first, we're partnership focused, we have a commitment to quality, that we are forward thinking, that we are workforce ready, and that we are responsible stewards of resources as well. So that leads us to the actual plan of Southeast Tech 2030, a vision for growth, innovation, and impact. And so there are 4 goals that go along with this. The first goal is more academic focus, so align academic delivery with workforce demands and student needs. Goal 2 is to strengthen student success. Goal 3 is to enhance employee capacity and organizational culture. And goal 4 is to build a stronger external connection with the community. And so I'll go through each one of those here in a second, but really what our structure is, since we have 4 goals, one VP will serve as the executive sponsor for each of those goals. And they'll really be there to help kind of remove barriers and roadblocks and to help keep things moving forward and to be that link back to the cabinet. And then we have a goal lead, which is a faculty or staff member, which is a person who is convening the meetings and helping to lead those meetings and helping to help keep things moving forward on an operational basis as well. And then faculty and staff will serve on each of those goal teams. So there will be a goal team for all 4 of the goals. And so goal 1, as I said, is more the academic goal. And so Phoenicia will be the executive sponsor on that one. And there are 3 proposed strategies for goal number 1, which are to advance academic excellence, to deepen our industry collaboration, which is really making sure that we are co-developing academic training models with our industry partners. And then strategy 3 would be to drive enrollment through high-value, career-aligned pathways. So looking at our needs assessments, expanding capacity, which is both our human and our physical space, so that we can continue to meet workforce needs, engaging with the local school systems, the K-12 systems, and then making sure that all of our academic programs have a strong cost to earnings return, so that way our students have a high ROI on their value that they're getting from their education as well. So the bullet points under each strategies are sample tactics that came out of that work that will continue to evolve as the plan goes along as well, but those are some initial places where we will start and highlight. And then for each one of the goals, we will have metrics as well. So the metrics for goal number 1 are looking at the percentage of graduates who are employed post-graduation. As you may remember, for a couple months ago, right now that's 99%. So we're doing really well on that one already. The second one is percent of graduates who are employed in the state 1 year post-graduation, and this is also a metric that the Board of Technical Education is looking at. The third one is the percent of graduates who are employed in state as well as in their field post-graduation. And then the fourth one is another Board of Tech Ed metric that the 4 technical colleges are being assessed on, which is the cost to earnings return on academic programs. Goal number 2 is looking at strengthening student success. And as we've talked about internally, I don't know a single college or university that doesn't have some version of this in their strategic plans, and this is why we do what we do. And so Megan will be the executive sponsor for goal number 2. And there are 5 strategies for this one. Strategy 2.1 is to rethink course and service delivery methods. So thinking about our course scheduling, as well as our support services across varied times, locations, and formats. Strategy 2.2 is foster integrated student support across campus. 2.3 aligns with what Suzanne was just talking about earlier, that we're holistically addressing our students' basic needs and doing it as proactively as possible. 2.4 is explore campus housing options for our students. We have beds on campus in the 2 residence halls for about 192 students. The wait list for this fall is over 400 students. So we know there's a real demand for students to not just live close to campus, but to actually live on campus as well. And so it's something we need to continue to explore. And strategy 2.5 is to enhance student belonging. And just so making sure students feel welcome from their first point of contact with the college through graduation as well. The metrics for goal number 2 are the annual unduplicated enrollment. So how many unique students do we have over the course of the entire academic year, so fall, summer, and spring? Our fall to spring retention rate, as well as our fall to fall retention rate. So if students are here in the fall, how many of them are coming back in the spring? And then how many of them are coming back that following fall as well, or graduating? And then the last one is our annual unduplicated graduates, which is a Board of Tech Ed metric. The Board of Tech Ed has set a goal for us to have about 950 unique graduates by the year 2030. And we are already at that metric. And so we want to continue to go past that and blow that one out of the water, as we know that that is obviously a high need here in the Sioux Falls region as well as the southeast portion of the state. Goal number 3 is our employee goal, and looking at enhancing employee culture and employee capacity and organizational culture. And Christine will be the executive sponsor for this one, and there are 4 strategies, which are continuing to cultivate a culture of trust and accountability. We know that we all work together better when we trust each other, and so continuing to promote that psychological safety that everybody can have with open communication and transparency. Strategy 3.2 is to strengthen employee retention and satisfaction. We know we want to keep our high-performing employees, and so making sure that we're focusing on retaining them. Strategy 3.3 is building a high-quality onboarding experience, so really making sure that employees are ready to go from the very beginning. And as we continue to have academic programs that don't just start in August, how can we continue to have that onboarding process throughout the year for new faculty as well, both full-time and adjunct. And strategy 3.4, increasing operational consistency and effectiveness. One of the things that really came out in the sessions is that we don't necessarily have clear written and documented policies, or some are kind of word of mouth, or they're not necessarily applied consistently across campus. And so how can we make sure that we are doing that? Because that just makes everybody's job easier, and it makes it a lot easier for the students as well to know what it is that they need to do. As well as thinking about succession planning, which is not something that we have in place in all areas of the college currently. So making sure we're working on that. And the metric for goal 3 is an employee engagement and satisfaction score from a survey that most likely from a survey that we're already currently doing, that we can continue to utilize. And goal number 4 is our community goal, which is building a stronger external connection with the community, and Eric will be the executive sponsor for this goal. And there are 3 strategies that go along with this one, which is expanding our regional economic development influence. So making sure as we're having those conversations in the region about economic activity and regional economic boards, making sure that wherever we can be a part of those conversations. Strategy 4.2 is activating alumni as ambassadors and mentors. Like a lot of 2-year institutions, we don't do a great job of staying connected with our alumni after they graduate. And so this was, I'd say, maybe the other very main theme throughout the last 8 months as we are going through this process is we need to build a much stronger alumni network and relationship with our alumni as a way to help tell our story, as a way to be mentors for our students, for internship opportunities, as well as it helps build a donor base to help with financial support moving forward. And then the last strategy is to broaden student opportunities through strategic partnerships. So just thinking about how can we just broadly forge new partnerships to enhance student learning and internships, as well as sponsorships and career advancement pathways for our students and for our alumni. And the metric for this is we would need to develop an community engagement score, a survey where we're reaching out to community stakeholders and industry partners to assess how well we're doing here. So the structure, we talked about this a little bit earlier on. So there's an executive sponsor as well as goal leads and goal teams. And then to make sure that all the goals are working together, the goal leads will come to a cabinet meeting, most likely bi-monthly, where we'll just focus on the strategic plan to make sure that we can help answer questions, as well as making sure that we're not duplicating work and avoiding overlap as well, to help keep so that we have a structure. Or if the different goal teams have questions about kind of where do we want as a college to go, like we may have a couple different paths, it becomes a place to have that larger conversation as well to provide feedback, then back down to the goal teams. So next steps, providing that this is approved here today. We have now finished identifying the goal leads, and we are currently in the process of identifying volunteers for each of the goal teams. So there's a call out to all faculty and staff, and so we're continuing to build what those goal teams will look like. Once they are formed, the external consultants that we worked with to help build this plan, as part of that relationship, we'll work with each of the goal teams to build an implementation plan. So how do we take all the feedback that we've obtained over the last 8 months and really put that into action. And so they will work with each of those goal teams and goal leads to build out what that plan looks like. We will also work on building out targets for each of those metrics as well, so that this is designed to be a 5-year plan. So what are the annual targets that we want to hit for each of those metrics as well, so we can assess the progress that we're making. And then the goal teams, since we are using kind of the rest of this month to build out the teams and then work on implementation planning, would begin meeting most likely in October to begin that work. So the request today would be for you to approve the new strategic plan, as well as the revised mission and value statements, and it would be reaffirming the existing vision statement that we have right now as well. So I know I threw a lot of information at you, but happy to answer any questions.
So we're first going to get a motion, and we'll do some discussion before our vote, okay?
So moved.
Can I, Mark? Mark, what do you have going on tonight that you're in such a hurry?
Can't tell you.
Fishing, hunting, track, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the strategic plan update and the approval of that update?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion?
It seems to me like you're well on your way.
Thank you.
Some of the work that's being done. It's like on this board.
I'm going to put your, yes.
Oh, yeah, that one.
There you go.
It's nice you guys babysit me. But I would say, I think you're well on your way, and some of the things that are in there are already being done, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I was there for the stickering day where we had like 9,000 sheets of paper on the wall and everybody could put a sticker next to something they really care about, and you saw the themes kind of arising and the patterns showing up. And just from my recollection, all of that seems to really embody what you guys have in your strategic plan. So for me, you know, when we were hiring for your position, that was one of the things that we heard over and over was wanting to have feeling more heard as staff. And to see this come alive from all the feedback and just the different ways that you brought that timeline in your first year, I'm just so grateful for your leadership in this way. And I'm sure many people can attest to that as well. But the strategic plan truly does embody what your staff have said and have spoken out. And it seems like would like to see, I'm seeing a lot of nodding. Okay, sweet. So again, very grateful. I know you did give us a lot, but we're very grateful. And as Mark alluded to, we're already seeing a lot of this. So it's just nice to have it on paper.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that, you know, not only do I agree with the actual plan and the goals that you've set, but I think it's really smart how you've laid out the implementation and how you have the goal teams and the leads and the executive sponsors. And so you have somebody who's really responsible for each goal and can report back on that. So I think that's a great plan.
Ann?
Gail?
Dr. Klossman, could you run the slides back to the second goal area, please?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the right one. The one where it's in measuring, so it's in metrics probably, measuring
There we go. Metrics.
Yeah,
Goal 2.
the annual unduplicated graduate. So can you explain that to me? So like if a student gets 2 degrees, you only get to count them as a graduate once for the Board of Tech Ed?
So we count them both ways. We count how many total awards we have and then how many unique, and they do as well. We report both to the Board of Tech Ed and they report both out. But one of the metrics that the Board of Tech Ed is looking at is just the unduplicated number. Just we think about the workforce need, since the student who may have two degrees is only one worker, right? So they do count both of them, but that's why for this particular metric, they're only looking at the unduplicated one.
Okay, thank you.
Because we're going to take a vote here soon. But one thing, it's encouraging the structure or the implementation that you're looking at for the strategic plan through the executive sponsors, that it's not sitting on a shelf. But also, and equally important, is that we are using the strategic plan to inform the budget that we develop, and that we also have the matrix, which also is data collection, so that we know at the end of the day, the ROI. So we know we have some measurables, we know we're on track with what we're doing, and can measure that against the budget.
It's something Christine and I have talked about a lot.
Thank you. It's the only way we're going to live out the mission is through our budget, and having it informed by the strategic plan puts all of you together. And again, the implementation structure of having the executive sponsors, that's going to build a lot of great culture and teamwork that I know you're aiming for, and has been a goal of yours.
Yeah, thank you. And one of the things we've talked about, cabinet, which is the VPs, is that we know there's going to be a lot more areas where we can spend money on the strategic plan than we have money, as Christine would also be quick to point out. So it's going to be help prioritizing then where are the highest, and kind of how do we prioritize going down, so we know, okay, as a college, this is where we focus first, second, third, even if they're all strategic priorities, we can't necessarily put all the money in all at once. But
Yes.
then where can we use college money? Where can we fundraise? Where can we find other sources as well to help?
That's right. Let's not forget, if anybody's listening and is interested in donating, we have Stephen here with the foundation, and the foundation works closely with our strategic plan. Good job, Corey.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
the foundation will be developing a new comprehensive campaign as well, fundraising campaign. They're wrapping up theirs through the end of this calendar year. They'll begin a new one immediately, essentially January 1, that will completely align with this strategic plan as well. So they are fundraising for the priorities of this plan.
Exactly. It'll be nice to get an update or a good news report on that.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing. I see Gail over here. Yes.
Since Nan brought up the B word and tied it to the strategic plan, we all know that an organization's budget is really their value statement. So I love how this all fits together.
Okay. I think we're ready to take a vote, unless there's anybody else. Okay. Those in favor of approving the strategic plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Your strategic plan is approved.
Thank you very much.
Big day for all of us. This is excellent. Okay, we are now going to go into recess and then our executive session. As we're able to by South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2, subsection 4.